Hey guys, this is my reaction for Arsenal nil, Manchester City 5. I don't think any of us are really shocked that we lost the game, but the manner in which we're losing these games is quite shocking and really scary. Um, I've just I've just gotten to the point now where I'm really tired of doing match reactions and, analysis of games, post match podcasts and stuff where I don't actually get to talk about the tactics, goals, anything like that. It's just about the obvious issues, the glaring problems within this club, and they're manifesting themselves on the pitch. There's a clear lack of leadership from top to bottom. And that starts all the way from the tippy top, from Josh Kroenke, who has been, you know, given Arsenal by his dad, like as some side project because he doesn't want to deal with it. So we have somebody that's inexperienced and just playing around with Arsenal as a little pet project. Um, then you have Vinay, who was the sponsorship guy, who's now like the CEO. What is that? Adu, who I think we can say definitively has derailed a lot of what we want to do this season by not using the money that we clearly had economically and spending money heavily on Aaron Ramsdale and Ben White, two players who, one, Arteta is not going to use Ramsdale over Leno, and the other one who has COVID related issues. So we haven't really seen him play. So when you look at it and you think, wow, we had 75 million, what could that have gotten us? It could have gotten us Husam Awar and Basuma. And you can't tell me that those two players don't change the trajectory of what we're trying to do as a club. So you just look at it and you're just like, we're so inexperienced from the tippy top, and it just trickles down. And then you have an inexperienced manager who I feel like the club is building this team around and this idea of a project around. And the project should exist whether a manager is present in that rebuild or not. And I feel like they'll be reluctant to sack Arteta, which they should. They should sack him tonight. They'll be reluctant to do so because the project is heavily intertwined with what Arteta wants. And at this moment, we're seeing an Arteta team. It's a combination of players that Arteta has brought in and has decided to keep over other players. And they don't even respect him enough to defend. Simple defending. Chambers for the first goal was a rollback and repeat of what Holding did against Man City with Raheem Sterling. And for me, that's not they can't defend. That's we don't care enough to defend because we know nothing is going to happen to us. We don't respect the manager enough and respect the club enough to do simple things, keep our shape, defend, track runners, jump, kick, pass. They don't respect him enough to follow the directions. And what that says to me is that the manager he's not commanding respect and not filling the team with confidence going into a game. That is a management issue. That is beyond wanting to build a team in Arteta's image and wanting to see those players play for him. There's a fundamental issue here with Arteta and his inability to get this team to play in difficult situations, which, newsflash, the Premier League is a very difficult league. And if you have to have perfect settings in order to get something out of this team, then you must go. The fact that Chambers and Holding, Cedric and Kolasinac are starting games for Arsenal Football Club in 2021 is a disgrace. El Neni as well. And we're always just one injury away from those people being what we have to rely upon. And it's always our better players that get injured or have issues, that keep them from being able to play. And that's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that Tierney looks like a completely different player. He's tired. I see a lot of people saying Tierney is not as good as we thought. Yes, he is. He was one of our best players last season. The issue is that he's being hung out to dry by the manager. ESR hung out to dry by the manager. Odegaard hung out to dry by the manager. Aubameyang hung out to dry by the manager. The way he sets up the team is just, it's just laughable. It's just laughable at this point. I looked at that lineup and I just thought this could be a beating, and it's not that I thought that there was a different combination that would have given us a chance to really win it. I just think that when you decide to leave Tavares and Lokonga and Ainsley Maitland-Niles on the bench, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're not really giving yourself a chance. And I know that they're young players, but I think I'd rather go with youth than go with the obvious bad player. Does that make sense? So it's another one where I just want to talk about the game, and we're just talking about the same things. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the point about Xhaka getting another red card. How quickly does keeping him bite you in the butt? How quickly? We're better with him. We're better with him. He's a great and wonderful player. That was a reputation red if I've ever seen one. Somebody who the league has deemed as somebody who's rash and is susceptible to getting red cards, and he gets one just like that. We're down to 10 men against City away. How many times have we seen that? But you guys decided to keep him. And again, 75 million gets you Basuma and Awar in your midfield, and you don't have reputation reds anymore. The decision-making of this club is so schoolboy. I can't do it anymore. And we have the right young players, but they're being hung out to dry because we have no leadership in this club. And it's trickling itself down and manifesting itself on the pitch, and it's happening week on week on week. And what people will try to say is that, well, we don't have our best players. We don't have Thomas Partey. We don't have Gabriel. We don't have White. Well, guess what? This entire season is going to be us not having our players. They're going to get injured and they're going to get sick. That's how it is. That's the world that we're living in right now with fixture congestion and COVID. So that can't be an excuse every single time. And quite frankly, that's not an excuse for some of the goals that we gave up today, the lack of structure, the lack of a game plan. Like, whatever the game plan was, it either wasn't a good one or the players don't respect the manager enough to carry it out. Arteta decided to keep these players because they were nice and they wanted to be here and they weren't challenging him for playing time. They didn't ask questions. They just followed. You can't tell me that, I'm down for making sure that you have a good, environment. So maybe Guendouzi and Saliba and Torreira weren't great for the environment, but you have to make sure that what happens on the pitch backs that up. And so when you choose the players that aren't as good, which is clear, Guendouzi and Torreira and Saliba are better than El Neni, Chambers, and Holding. But if they go out there and they decide not to follow your directions, is that a good environment for your young players? They were actively not doing whatever you set out for them to do. So what was the point? The real winner today is William Saliba, somebody who Arteta deemed as not good enough, who you could give an excuse for maybe not being able to defend well against Man City. What is the excuse for Chambers and Holding and Cedric and Kolasinac? What is that? So it's just poor, and again, we're going to see these players again. It's not just White and Gabriel and Thomas Partey coming back and all things are going to come back and we're going to be good. It's just not. And the amount of stress and negativity that is being placed upon our young players it's only a matter of time before they break down. What I saw from Tierney today wasn't Tierney as a bad player. It's the inevitable decline that you go through being an Arsenal player, being asked to do 4 or 5 people's jobs, playing with players that are not up to your level. Tierney played really well for Scotland in the Euros. You think he just fell off that quick? It's not about Tierney. It's about the players that he's playing around. He's being asked to do too much and he's freaking tired. It's going to happen to Saka. It's going to happen to ESR. It's already happened to Aubameyang. So what do you expect? I expect Arteta to be sacked tonight. If we had any standards, we would say there's a fundamental issue. Either his planning and coaching is not good enough, or the players don't respect him enough to do it. And it's players at all levels. It's not just the bad players, it's the good players too. Nobody's following through, so if he can't command the respect and he can't put a suitable game plan together that allows us not to get a beating, then he has to go. This rebuild should not be about Arteta, and it shouldn't rely upon Arteta being there. And if it does, we're in huge trouble. I'm down for the young player rebuild. I know that there's going to be ups and downs, but there are glaring issues here. We're in 20th. We've already given up, 10 goals, 9 goals. We haven't scored a goal. I don't think we've looked like scoring in any game. And anybody who thinks we go into the international break, the window closes, and we start winning games at Norwich is deluded. We will continue to lose if a big change doesn't happen. But the issue is that we have a bunch of schoolboys running the club into the ground. So again, we haven't been able to actually talk about football, the game. We're talking about things that are happening outside and are manifesting themselves on the pitch. And it's just getting really tiring. So, yeah, here we go. Another season. We're going to throw away the whole beginning of the season, making it deeper than what it needs to be. You sack Arteta, you get a manager in that'll make these boys sit up straight and do what they're asked. Period. I'm Jessica. You can follow me on Twitter at @It'sJessinho, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.